Welcome to Movie Light. The show opens with Patty recounting her experiences as a young woman grappling with the challenges of obesity. She reflects on her entire adolescence marred by self-loathing towards her appearance and relentless bullying at her high school, where she was crudely labeled as Fatty Patty. One day, during gym class, Patty suddenly collapses, and a group of popular girls mock her as she lies on the ground. But Bob Armstrong, one of the hottest guys in the school, comes to her rescue, swiftly helping her back on her feet. Later, with the assistance of her best friend Nani, Patty asks Brick out to thank him for his kindness. Unfortunately, he coldly rejects her, emphasizing that his actions were merely out of kindness. Following this rejection, Patty finds herself alone outside a store, finding solace in a candy bar. Here, she encounters a homeless man who crudely insults her and tries to snatch her candy bar. In a burst of emotion, Patty lands a punch, breaking the man's nose. However, he quickly retaliates, resulting in her broken jaw. 3 months later, the homeless man takes legal action against Patty. This introduces us to Brick's father, Bob Armstrong, a lawyer who offers his services pro bono. He also has experience coaching beauty pageants and reflects on a past incident that marked his downfall as a pageant coach. In a flashback, we learn that his client, Dixie Sinclair, lost a pageant when another contestant defeated her. Struggling to cope with the loss, Dixie's mother, Regina, falsely accuses Bob of molesting her daughter, leading to his ostracism from the community and the pageant industry. Returning to the present, Patty's appearance has seemingly transformed during her recovery from the broken jaw. She regards Bob as her savior and becomes infatuated with him. Bob, in turn, is entranced by Patty's potential as a beauty queen and abandons the plea agreement strategy to argue for self-defense. In a surprising revelation, Bob Bernard, a rival of Bob Armstrong, unveils the existence of an eyewitness named Donald, the store clerk, who can validate their argument. Patty later seduces the clerk into providing false testimony during the court proceedings. At a charity gala organized by Bob's wife, Coralee Armstrong, Patty confronts Dixie and Regina about the false allegations. Regina, driven by a desire to ruin Bob's reputation, hires a private investigator named Chase to monitor his activities. The next day, Patty visits the Armstrong residence to prepare for her testimony. Bob praises her for her inner and outer beauty, and they form a bond. However, Chase, spying on Bob, takes a photograph of them together and sends it to Regina. During the trial, Donald, the supposed eyewitness, claims to have no recollection of the incident. Patty persuades the judge that she acted in self-defense, leading to the case's dismissal. Bob sees Patty as his chance for redemption in the world of pageants and proposes coaching her. Patty's mother strongly opposes the idea. Later, Bob meets Magnolia Bernard, who intends to hire him as her pageant coach. Magnolia invites him to her room, seemingly to discuss their strategy. While she changes in front of him, Chase, the private investigator, takes more photographs and sends them to Regina. Meanwhile, at a support meeting attended by Patty's mother, a man named John shares his story of punching a girl, revealing himself as the homeless man who sued Patty. Patty devises a plan to sleep with John and later reject his advances as revenge. Patty accompanies John to a motel, but before she can execute her plan, he gets intoxicated and dozes off. Frustrated, she douses him with alcohol and snatches his matchbook. Instead of resorting to arson, Patty decides to participate in pageants, defying her mother's objections. The next day, Patty wakes up hungover and struggles to recall the events. In school, her peers, including Brick, fail to recognize her. Local news reports a man in critical condition following a motel fire, and Patty panics, recalling her encounter with John. Nani, learning the details, conducts her own investigation at the hospital. Feeling guilty, Patty seeks advice from Bob. Meanwhile, Coralee pays a visit to the Bernards and interacts with Bob Bernard. Regina discreetly leaves behind incriminating photos. After school, Patty and Nani visit Donald for an alibi. However, security footage doesn't provide a reliable one, so they recreate the conditions of the previous night. This backfires, leading to Patty's hospitalization. Regina's affair with Brick is revealed, and a minor car accident occurs. Regina flees the scene, John implicates Patty, but Bob unravels the truth. John confesses to falsely implicating her, but Patty's harsh words lead to his sudden cardiac arrest and death. Before moving forward, please subscribe to Movie Light. Let's back to the movie. It takes Patty to Alabama to acquaint Patty with the world of pageants. Utilizing his connections to secure backstage access, he he devises a plan to seek guidance from his mentor regarding Patty's lack of control. Although Patty agrees to accompany him, her sole intention is to seduce Bob during his time apart from his wife. While in Alabama, Patty comes across Stella Rose, the director of the Miss Buckaroo pageant and Armstrong's former mentor. During her time there, she also forms a friendship with the reigning pageant queen, Roxy. Yet, Roxy's friendly demeanor in the fiercely competitive world of pageants raises considerable doubts about her motives towards Patty. Meanwhile, back in their town, Nani's jealousy escalates to a new level as she becomes increasingly concerned about Bob potentially harming Patty. She then pays a visit to Donald, requesting to borrow his car. Nani then explains her urgent need to rescue Patty from what she perceives as a dangerous situation with the alleged molester, who is also her lawyer and pageant coach. While Donald offers to accompany her on the trip to Alabama, Dixie, who also happens to be present at the store, overhears their conversation. Seizing the opportunity, Dixie joins them and proposes that she also wants to come along, with the aim of gathering more evidence against Bob. This leads to an unexpected trio, Dixie, Nani, and Donald, taking off on a journey to Alabama with the mission of spying on Bob and Patty. During their road trip, a shocking revelation comes to light when Dixie confesses that her mother Regina fabricated the allegations against Bob Armstrong. Back in Alabama, Stella Rose proposes a strategy to Bob, adopting the roles of good cop and unrestrained behavior. When Armstrong requests Patty to demonstrate her pageant walk, the outcome is far from ideal. Throughout their stay in Alabama, Armstrong assigns Patty tasks she resents, all under the guise of testing her ability to follow directions. However, Stella's plan serves as a cunning tactic for Stella to manipulate Patty, turning her against Bob and ultimately luring her into her own guidance. Fortunately, Bob quickly grasps Stella's scheme, leading to a confrontation in her hotel room. However, Bob is taken by surprise by her advances, exposing their romantic history. Later, Bob heads back to his hotel room, only to find Patty waiting there to seduce him. Already agitated by Stella's flirtatious behavior, Bob firmly declines Patty's advances. Crushed by his rejection, she then heads to a nearby bar to meet up with Stella and Roxy, seeking solace in their company. Returning to Georgia, a surprise visit from Coralee's sister, Brandolyn, and her children catches her off guard. At this point, the backstory of Coralee unfolds, shedding light on her upbringing in a trailer park. However, Bob rescued her from that life, leading her into the life she has now. Back in Alabama, Patty inadvertently sees the text messages exchanged between Stella and Bob. This ultimately leads her to the painful realization that they both are merely exploiting her, rather than genuinely valuing her. Feeling betrayed and unsure, she then copes by taking part in a crawfish eating contest. In the midst of the contest, Bob makes a sudden appearance and implores Patty to place her trust in him once more. He then shares his own experiences with binge-eating behaviors, leading Patty to find solace in their shared vulnerability. However, in an unexpected turn, she challenges Bob to demonstrate his loyalty by joining her in the eating contest. Therefore, in a gesture of understanding, Bob not only joins her, but also wins the competition. Subsequently, he confronts Stella Rose, who reveals her role as Roxy's coach for the Miss American Lady pageant, a competition in which Patty is also participating. Following her confrontation with Bob, Stella discloses to Patty her romantic past involving him. Taking it a step further, she also provides tangible proof in the form of an engraved necklace from him. Ultimately, this necklace becomes a pawn in Patty's plot to break apart Bob's marriage and claim him for herself,